because he's 1 for 3. He ain't shot nothing. Nothing. He's like, oh, I'm just going to get these rebounds. I mean, they were playing Memphis anyway. So, again, congratulations to Russell Westbrook. But yeah. So other playoff scenarios. If you got a playoff scenario that you want to throw out there, throw it out to me. And I'll tell you. But Eastern Conference, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be very, very intrigued with whoever Philly gets, because Milwaukee's getting blasted right now. That could be Miami. It could. Philly versus Miami. That I would be interested in. It's a lot of scenarios that this could play out. Boston, I'm not really worried about because they're dealing with a lot of stuff. So I think no one is put any real big expectations on them. Toronto, I'm not really worried about. And then of course I'll be interested to see who Cleveland runs into in the first round. Could be the Pacers, which should be an easy out, for them. But Angry Black Man says so many incredible seasons this year with Harden, LeBron, AD. So Russ is kind of diminished. Get your popcorn ready for the playoffs. Should be fun. And ain't that's crazy? Isn't that crazy? That everything that everyone else is doing, those names that Angry Black Man just threw out there, that back-to-back triple-double for the season is not what it once was, even though it's never happened. That's crazy. That is crazy. But who else we got out there? Utah. We're going to talk about Utah in a little bit as well, but ain't no half-stepping, man, if you playing Utah. These boys are not playing around. These boys are not playing around. And there was a spot, and I saw it before I came on the show, so I really didn't get a chance to check it out. And I saw Mo Cheese, Country Road Show, say this in the chat room. He was talking about Timberwolves hanging on, Hawks fan. So I'm trying to remember what that was all about. So Mo Cheese, if you can tell me what it's about, it's something with the Timberwolves that impacts the Atlanta Hawks with a draft pick. So if you got the answer for me, Mo Cheese, put it in there so I'll know what's going on with that. I didn't get a chance to actually check that out before we got on the show tonight. And speaking of the show, I'm just glad I'm able to do a show tonight. We were having some major technical difficulties about 20 minutes before the show came on. So just the fact that I can get here is I'll take it, But man, I'm ready for these playoffs. I am ready for it. And here's the thing I also want to point out before I move on, is that the season itself and now the playoffs, all the scenarios that we're talking about, everything that we're talking about, nothing's guaranteed, and someone could lose, someone could win, other teams stepped up. These are the scenarios that I was talking about actually 2-3 years ago, when people were just saying, oh my gosh, the super teams are together. It's not going to be interesting and everything. And we got so many different storylines. And I told y'all, it's going to be more interesting than what people thought. Again, you had Minnesota as far as like what they did. You had Houston, with the whole CP3. You got Philadelphia, these young kids. Now they got everybody hyped up. It's like, what can they do? D Wade is back, in Miami. You got Cleveland, who overhauled their roster twice in 1 year, and you got Boston. You still got Washington. What can they do? Is Milwaukee actually up and coming team? Victor Oladipo in Indiana. It was just like, wow, he really needed to get out of OKC so he could shine, because that wasn't his team. Dame in Portland, what they're doing. Utah with Gordon Hayward gone. It's just like, it's so many stories, that could have went on, or that did go on, I should say, that made the NBA season interesting, but also now it got us hyped up for the playoffs. we still could end up with a Warriors versus Cleveland finals again. We could end up with a Houston versus Cleveland, as well. But nothing is guaranteed. That's the great thing. Toronto, I forgot to mention Toronto. Now it's just like, is Toronto going to be this new team, or are they going to be the same old Raptors that we knew? So it's a lot going on, in the NBA. Angry Black Man is messing with me, talking about the Pistons are an unsuper team. Yeah, right now. Yeah. So funny. Ha, 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 ha. You're funny because you're talking about the Pistons, Angry Black Man. Oh, yeah. Who cares? Yeah, we suck. It's all right. I can mention. I'm man enough to mention we suck right now. All right, but we'll be back. And speaking of back, we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back, and we'll jump off the NBA for a second. We'll go back to it, but then we're gonna get into the NFL, and I'm gonna talk about this whole Dez Bryant meeting with Jerry Jones, and then I'll get into part 2 of my NFL mock draft. So you listen to the Wait a Minute show with your man, Jelani, J.B. Bodie, and Lopan, who is still here. Indeed. And we'll be back after these words.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Vince Wright, the sports governor, and you know me from the Sports Done Right show. But when I'm not doing Sports Done Right, I'm in the executive mansion chilling with the Wait a Minute show. That's right, Jelani, Lopan, indeed. Keep it tuned here, y'all. The Wait a Minute show. My name is Vince Wright, and I approve this message.
Yo, this is your boy Keith C from the
Kicking It with Keith C show.
When I want to jam, I'm jamming with Queen Josie and DJ New as they're kicking those vibes.
Don't be a crook who steals. Buy what you need at DougieDeals.com.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
X gon' give it to you.
Any and all resistance will crumble. Nonsense. There's never been a threat
Squad
couldn't handle. It is the purpose of the
Squad
to align our infamous forces against the powers of good and defeat them, leaving us, the rulers of the world.
This is Girly Girl. Join me every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Girly Girl's World for intriguing conversation and relevant topics. Girly Girl's World for the women on the go and the men who want to know. Girly Girl's World Sundays at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey! Man, I love that promo. Girly Girl World. So we are back. You listen to the Wait a Minute show with your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, and my co-host, Lopan. Indeed. And we were, before the break, we were talking about we was going to get into some NFL news. And Mo Cheese updated me on, the whole thing with the Hawks and everything. So basically, they are trying to get an earlier draft pick for this year versus next year. It will be worse. So they are, I guess, cheering for the Hawks at this point. So thank you, Mo Cheese. Cheering for the Timberwolves. So thank you, Mo Cheese, for the update. Now, moving on to a little NFL news. Dez Bryant. So we've been talking about, or they've been talking about Dez Bryant, even before the season ended. They was asked to him, Dez, are you going to take a pay cut? You haven't been playing the same like you have. You're on the books for about $16.5 million, and all this stuff. And this offense is starting to be more run-oriented, so they're not going to you like they once did. You're getting up in age. All this stuff, about Dez Bryant. And so it has come to this, that Dez Bryant is supposed to have a meeting with Jerry Jones this Friday. And it begs the question, what is this conversation going to be like? Or what is this conversation going to be about? Is it about the pay cut? Is it about, does Dez want to be there? Is it, something else, something different? Well, I can honestly, probably say that it will be about the whole contract situation with Dez. It is going to probably be about him, taking a pay cut. And the biggest question is if this is going to be about a pay cut, it's how much of a pay cut. Now, there's been reports that, or not reports, but suggestions that Dez should take the pay cut, but do an incentive-laden contract so he gets that money back as long as he performs. Which, to me, I guess, if that's going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, then I guess so. But like I just said, if he is going to, if they're going to a more run-oriented offense, then what does an incentive mean to him? Because guess what? Dez is not throwing the ball to himself. Dez is not calling the plays. So when Zeke gets back, it's line up, look at the offense, RPO, either give it to Zeke or don't. Hot route, whatever. It is not going to be the same offense like it was with Tony Romo because, news flash, ladies and gentlemen, Dak Prescott is not Tony Romo. I know he won 13 games, and all this stuff, but he is not there yet. He has not developed into that type of quarterback yet. He could be, but we just don't know yet. But at this point, they are running the ball. They are not going to be a pick a guy, let it fly, type of offense or anything. They want to control the ball, especially with them trying to fix their defense. So back on Dez with this meeting with Jerry Jones. Now, the reason I say I got a little insight, because I don't know if y'all remember, Jerry Jones met with another Cowboys wide receiver who was kind of known, kind of popular. He got into the Hall of Fame this upcoming year in Terrell Owens. And it went down a little bit like this, is that same thing. They met and sat down. Excuse me. They met, sat down. T.O. and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus. And I think it's going to be the same way. It's going to be Dez and his agent with Jerry Jones. And Jerry started to pull out a tablecloth and a black pen. Now, this is a report of how it went down. And I've heard T.O. talk about this. So it's how it went down. But Jerry Jones pulled out a tablecloth and a black pen. And he drew a line. And he put on one side, it was Jerry Jones. And on the other side, it was Terrell Owens. And then he drew this arch over the top. And basically what Jerry Jones said, he said that this thing is bigger than me and you. And unfortunately, I got to make some decisions as far as like what's right, for the team. And he basically told T.O., it's been real, but I'm going to holler. So it could be somewhat similar, not necessarily get rid of Dez, because Dez is younger than what T.O. was. So that's one thing. Two, they really don't have anybody behind Dez. And Dez isn't the people will, he's very not emotional. That's not the right word. He's fiery, and he's very vocal, but T.O. was categorized as a guy who would split the locker room. And I believe it to a certain degree that people would pick sides. I don't think he would just go in there and say, are you with me or not with me, as far as like Torello. And Dez is not that. So I don't think they're trying to get rid of him, but they're trying to get rid of that contract. And I am pretty sure they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, which I understand why Dez doesn't want to take a pay cut. Sure, Dez feel that he is, the same player he always is. He's probably like, look, y'all changed the offense. If you threw me the ball more, I could do more. He hasn't had, the greatest season the last 3 seasons. Not what you would expect out of Dez, and also not what you were expecting out of a guy getting paid that much. But all that's not Dez's fault. Again, Dak Prescott got there and he's a rookie quarterback. They are not going to just put him out there and just say, you know what, just fling this thing and throw it. Let it rip. And you had Ezekiel Elliott. So some of this is not Dez's fault. But they are going to